Sarcasm is one of those things we all understand instantly and almost never question. It's the quick comment, the dry remark, the joke that lands just sharp enough to feel clever. Sometimes it makes people laugh. Sometimes it makes a room go quiet. And most of the time, we don't even notice which one happened, because sarcasm often feels like intelligence in motion. But here's the interesting part. Sarcasm isn't just humor. It's also a way of positioning ourselves, emotionally and socially. Sarcasm works so well because it does several things at once. First, it sounds intelligent. A well-timed sarcastic comment feels quick, observant, and a little bit above the situation. It signals that you notice something others didn't. And noticing things often feels like having the upper hand. Sarcasm also feels safe. You get to say something honest without fully standing behind it. If the comment lands, it's clever. If it doesn't, it was just a joke. That ambiguity is powerful, and socially, sarcasm creates instant alignment. When people laugh together, they feel connected, even if the connection is built on a shared eye roll. For a moment, sarcasm puts you on the inside. You're not reacting to the world, you're commenting on it. And that can feel strangely satisfying. At some point, though, sarcasm can quietly change roles. It's no longer just a way to comment on the world. It becomes a way to keep it at a distance. Instead of saying what we actually feel, we wrap it in humor. Not because we want to confuse people, but because being direct can feel exposed. Sarcasm gives us a safer position. We can express frustration without vulnerability, disappointment without admitting it mattered. And the sharper the humor becomes, the better it seems to work. If something hurts, we joke about it. If something feels awkward, we deflect. If something matters too much, we make it sound like it doesn't. From the outside, it still looks like confidence. From the inside, it often feels like control. And that's usually when sarcasm stops being playful and starts becoming protective. Dark sarcasm is still humor, but it carries a different weight. The joke lands, but it doesn't fully invite. It's sharper, more precise, and a little harder to laugh off. Often, dark sarcasm isn't about being funny, it's about being untouchable. The humor moves faster than the feeling behind it. By the time anyone could respond seriously, the moment has already passed. Dark sarcasm can sound fearless, but it usually appears when something feels risky to say directly. So instead of opening a conversation, it ends it neatly. People still smile. They might even laugh. But the room shifts. Not dramatically, just enough to notice, if you're paying attention. Sarcasm doesn't usually cause conflict. It does something quieter than that. It changes the emotional temperature of a moment. People may laugh, but they also register the distance. Over time, sarcasm can teach others what not to say around us. Not because they're afraid, but because they're unsure. The joke passes, the feeling stays, and slowly conversations become lighter, safer, less personal. Not because anyone decided to pull away, but because sarcasm already created the space. It's subtle, almost invisible. But like most habits in communication, it leaves a trace. Sarcasm isn't a flaw, it's a skill. A way of saying more than we're willing to say directly. And sometimes, a way of saying less. Sarcasm doesn't usually hide our thoughts. It hides the parts that feel a little too exposed. That's why it sounds clever. And why it feels safe. Once you notice that, sarcasm stops being just humor. It becomes information. About what matters. About what we'd rather not admit mattered. And maybe that's the useful part. Not deciding whether sarcasm is good or bad, but noticing why it shows up. Because sometimes the sharpest joke is just a feeling asking for a softer landing. If this made you notice your own humor, or someone else's, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring the quieter patterns behind how we think, feel, and communicate, you're always welcome to subscribe and join the Mind Paths.